By possessing nuclear weapons, Pakistan assumes it has placed a strict psychological constraint on India. In a nuclearized South Asia, the prerequisites to a conflict would have to be of a remarkably severe orientation. The postulation of a mutually assured destruction becomes a primary concern in the rationale for any future conflict between the neighbors, or so Pakistan believes.
Yes, you have fought 4 wars, but that is exactly the point, that both in 1999, which was Kargil, and then again in the mobilization post the attack on the Indian Parliament and the 2002 mobilization, both parties paused. They did not go on to a full-fledged war because, and I'm quite clear in my mind, the nuclear deterrent acted to prevent any such development. So I would emphasize that I think that the major change is the acquisition of a nuclear deterrence by Pakistan, which, as many Indians put it, has more than equalized the conventional superiority that India enjoys, and that conventional superiority is considerable.
In terms of conventional warfare capability, India appears to have the upper hand, often pegged as a 3-to-1 advantage. India boasts one of the largest military manpower in the world, approximating at about 3.7 million personnel. Pakistan compares that with around 1.4 million personnel. These figures include reservist and paramilitary troops. A comparison of the Air Force furthers India's advantage, which is home to approximately 1,330 combat aircrafts. In response, Pakistan Air Force claims to have around 530 combat aircrafts operating out of 9 bases. And in terms of active armory, India hosts around 2,295 main battle tanks, most of which are of Russian origin. In this group, Pakistan betters India with an inventory of over 3,600 tanks. Forming the backbone of Pakistan's armor corps are the Al-Zarar and the Al-Khalid tanks.
I think that's precisely what the two need to define and explain. At the moment, deterrence is predicated on a rather opaque form of deterrence. It is not based on a very clear form of doctrines that each country understands of the other. That's precisely why I'm addressing the need for the two countries to be able to not just enunciate these clearly, but to be able to talk to each other clearly so that they both have a common strategic language, they're able to understand what these doctrines are, and that these doctrines become a factor for reassurance and stability rather than uncertainty, because uncertainty in a nuclear environment can be very risky business.
We are in a state of rough nuclear parity, and I think that a war is not possible anymore. Conventional war. Proxy wars are quite possible. Limited wars on the pattern of Kargil are also quite possible. But a full-fledged war will have risk of escalation from one ladder of hostility to another ladder of hostilities. And because of that fear of escalation, I think that Indian and Pakistani defense planners will evade getting into conventional conflict.
In the nuclear delivery front, India Pride is the Agni-2, a nuclear-capable operational ballistic missile with an estimated range of 2,000 kilometers. The different forms of Prithvi can achieve ranges between 150 to 250 kilometers, both capable of reaching Islamabad. The maximum range among Pakistan's missile is the Shaheen-2, reported to reach around 2,000 kilometers. The Gauri comes next with an estimated range of 1,300 kilometers. The Hataf-1 and the Hataf-3 both nuclear capable, can achieve ranges between 300 kilometers and 80 kilometers.
You see, our nuclear weapon capability, according to ourselves, is India specific. India specific. This is what we've always said. This is absolutely ridiculous. What do we mean by that?
When you have the bomb, you don't say that. America has never said that, no other country has said that. You see, it's madness to use the bomb or even consider using the bomb. But nobody places your ace up front in the first round. That's something which you keep it as the option of last resort. You don't declare your intentions. Then what do you have when you're discussing that?
So I think nuclearization has been a very complex business. Only some of it has been addressed. A great deal of it really does need to be addressed. And the best way to address it is to really create and establish a strategic stability regime which consists of three features or three dimensions. One, a conflict resolution dimension. Second, a nuclear restraint dimension, so that the two countries are able to talk to each other about measures and steps that they can take for nuclear restraint and to reduce nuclear risk. And thirdly, of course, to also talk to each other about conventional military postures and restraint. If we can have progress along these three dimensions, then we can truly say that the two countries, nuclear neighbors, have really injected a degree of stability in their nuclear and non-nuclear relationship.